here. You're ready. Welcome to my world.
Welcome back, YouTube. It's I'm Ghost of Sparta, and I'm here with another fantastic review for you guys. You can almost hear it in my voice. And we have the Todd McFarlane Kickstarter campaign Spawn. I don't know if you guys ever had the original Spawn in 1994. I think it came out, or 1993. I'm pretty sure it's on one of these boxes. This figure looks way better from that. I'll leave a picture up in the corner so you guys can see, you know, the exact differences they are. So we're going to review this figure. We're going to take a look at paint apps, sculpt, articulation, and accessories. So we're going to go over the size comparisons. And so let's go check that out now. Here is the size comparisons of the Todd McFarlane Kickstarter Spawn with NECA Predator, Marvel Legends Deadpool, Hasbro's Lightning Collection Gold Ranger, SHFiguarts Goku, and Imagineworks Goku. So you can kind of see that his scale is kind of unique, but I believe he fares pretty well with the NECA Predator and also the Imagineworks Goku. So if you're going to scale him up and put him in some kind of scene, I would recommend, you know, getting something that's like in the 7-inch, 8-inch line, maybe a little bit more than 6-inch. But this guy's about a 7-inch figure, so so this gives you kind of a good idea where you can place him. So now we're at the review portion of this action figure review. The Kickstarter Spawn action figure from Todd McFarlane is a pretty awesome figure. Now, it does have some really neat articulation, but we're here to look at the paint apps and the sculpt, since we're going to get a little closer look at it. So, I mean, you guys know me, and if you've watched this channel enough, I'm not a big fan of plastic capes because they're so rigid, they don't have enough articulation. Now, Todd gave us some articulation here with it being able to flap open and close, and you can display them in different ways. Now, this is a very big figure, and if I was Todd McFarlane and if I were to say Spawn to any of you, just in a random conversation, the first thing is going to come to mind, not only of his costume and everything else, but is his cape. And how badass would it be if they were to give us a badass like cape, you know, fucking huge cape that's, you know, has bendy wire in it. It has holes because, you know, as you know, the cape is his power. The more he uses it, the more tethered it gets. So it would be awesome if they would give us a nice huge cape. You know, they could give you like a couple different ones, different sizes, so that we can display them in different ways, you know. And I understand that the reason why he chooses to do this because he really likes his art and he wants you to be able to get the full picture and be able to get all the detail of the costume and all that good stuff. I mean, you can see that there's some nice shading all around the figure. I mean, we have shading here, we have shading in the back there, even around his ab area. You can see that there's some nice shading. So he really took time to get the detail right and how he wanted this figure to be presented. I mean, look at the back of the cape, has a bunch of shading all around it, just, you know, crazy. And a lot of people are calling this figure a statue. Now, I do have him in some good poses. You'll see at the end of the video when I go over my final thoughts on the figure. But the detail and what he gave us from the original 1993 or 4 figure that came out is really nice. I mean, that figure only had 5 points of articulation. You can move the head left and right, arm can rotate. I don't even think it had an elbow joint back then, and the leg can move back and forth. That was it. That was your articulation, you know, 5 points, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then his head was 5. And then you had the cape that you would be able to collapse it like so that way you can, you know, hide the figure, because remember, Spawn's main thing is his cape. Now, the sculpt on the face, let's take a look at that right now. The sculpt work on the face looks beautiful. You can see the details. It's almost like they carved it in, and this white piece kind of looks like flesh-like, you know, and then the black piece right here where his mouth, you can see that they had his teeth right there, and it looks really nice. They did a lot of good detail, fantastic detail. Now, these spikes around him that they sculpted are sharp. I mean, they do hurt. When I was posing this guy, it did bother me to have to move certain things because that would poke me, and it did hurt. So be very, very careful if you did pick up this figure when it comes to, you know, trying to articulate him, because those do hurt a lot. Now, the paint apps of the costume looks really, really, really fantastic. I mean, you can't go wrong. I mean, like I said, I was mentioning the shading, the sculpt work of the white line here. You can also see the red here. You can also see the abdomen, his pectoral muscles. You know, it almost looks like it, I mean, his suit is basically his flesh, If you guys didn't know or read the comic, sorry, spoilers. So it does have like that muscly flesh tone that Spawn is known for. Now these chains here are metal, you know, because that was one of the upgrades that they were planning on giving us, because it reached, you know, some kind of you know, price marker or goal marker, and it did. So these chains are really nice, the fact that they're metal, and I believe that the scale for them fit pretty nice. Like they were able to scale them to where it looks like it belongs on this figure, because sometimes with these they either get them too big or they're way too small and it just doesn't scale right with the figure. What everybody's waiting for, the articulation. Head moves up, head moves up, moves down, swivel, arm rotation, hinge, bicep swivel, swivel, bend at the elbow, swivel, hinge, 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 waist joint, leg kicks forward, kicks back, Spawn in his very acrobatic spread, bend at the knee, swivel, swivel, hinge, pivot, and a toe hinge. So here's some of the accessories that Spawn comes with. He also has some interchangeable hands. He basically has 3 pairs of hands. He has his fisted hands, or his, you know, basically he can hold his weapons with them. I didn't take them off because we have all seen those already, but he has these hands here that are slightly gripping. This is what he would use to hold his M16 or M4 rifle. It has some nice detail work with the spikes. You can see the nice painted silver. We have the nice red. There is some shading, and they got some good detail work on all these hands. Now these were not included originally, but because it hit a certain marker, we were able to get some pairs of hands. Now we also have his club, which I believe came with the original Spawn, and you know, it has a nice little hook here. It has a bunch of nails in it, and then, you know, because Spawn was a violent comic. If you haven't read Spawn, I would recommend it. And this was kind of like his idea to get everybody into Spawn, because this figure does come with a nice comic book, and the detail on that, it looks like wood. It has the wrapping on it for his hands. Looks really nice. Now let's move to the big gun here. This is M16 or M4. Don't know which one it is. If you guys know, let me know in the comments. But there's a lot of things happening here that make no sense. I mean, I know enough about weapons, but I mean, obviously this is an M203. We have a nice little saw blade here, or bayonet. He has a scope here, or actually it's more like a hollow sight, and then he has an actual scope here, magnifier. This would swing to the left or right, so you can move it out of the way in case for close quarter combat. We also have a laser sight here. There's the magazine. He also has a tactical stock applied onto it. So Todd McFarlane thought of some crazy idea for, you know, an assault rifle. Very nicely detailed, colored very fantastically. I mean, you have some silver, you have some black. It would have been nice if they went with the whole gunmetal. I think all around it would have been nice, or if they put like a silver wash on the black. That's all I'm saying. I mean, but very detailed, has some nice shading. So now we have this little green piece here that he's able to hold in his hands, and he also has this ectoplasmic knife here, because Spawn is able to use his powers, which is like this crazy green goop kind of thing, and he's able to, you know, use these weapons to his need when he's, you know, fighting Malbolgia or whoever he is fighting. And since we're here, the last accessory comes with was this unmasked head, and you could see the detail that they give us with this. I mean, look at the burn marks, because as you know, the character Spawn, his name is Al Simmons, and he was burned or blown up during a mission because he was a mercenary. So he went to go take care of some business and ended up being backstabbed by, you know, his own boss. And you could see the detail that they gave us with this figure. I mean, look at the teeth. He's screaming. You can see the green ectoplasmic backing of his mouth. The eyes are metallic, which was one of the things that he wanted to do. Todd McFarlane gave us that as well. And it looks beautiful. This is a beautiful head sculpt. And, you know, the way that they want you to use it, this one is, I mean, pretty much you can only use it in one direction. I mean, it does, once you put it on the joint, it can move left and right, but you could see that it's kind of poking out and screaming. So there's only so many directions you can get this guy to be able to pose. And we'll go over some of the poses and everything on my final thoughts. Now we're here at the final thoughts of this action figure. And I have to say that Todd McFarlane gave us a really nice update. Now, to be able to defend the whole statue argument is going to be very difficult, because this figure does have some limitation in the articulation department. I feel that if this cape was removable, this figure would have been awesome. I heard that there's a way to remove the cape. I'm not too sure. I just don't want to break this figure because this figure is, well, doing the Kickstarter campaign wasn't expensive, but now because of the fact that it was a Kickstarter campaign, yes, this figure is super expensive because we don't know if they're going to re-release this figure or not, or was this a one-off. Now, posing him is really great. It's fun. You can pose him very limitedly, as you can see in some of the pictures that I'm showing, but you can get some dynamic poses. I mean, you got to be really thoughtful, have a really good stand, because this figure is heavy due to the fact of the bulky plastic cape. Todd, if you can hear me out there, please give us a spawn with a nice, awesome, freaking majestic cloth cape with bendy wire. I don't know why you don't want to do it, Todd, but please, if you guys can share this video and share this portion to let me speak to him and tell him to give us a badass cloth cape, because Mafex is doing it with the Batman line and it's fucking phenomenal. The Hush Batman with the cloth cape and also the Dark Knight Returns cape is awesome. So I think Spawn deserves the cloth cape, you know, edition. So Todd, if you could hear me out there, please. So if you guys can help out with that, please help me out and let him hear me, you know, let him know about the cloth cape. Oh, real quick before I go, I forgot one more thing. He does come with the nice little stand. It's kind of like the one you get from the Mortal Kombat figures. So it's pretty nice. You can also see 1994 to 2001. That's a long time. Almost 20 years. Yeah, almost 20 years. Getting close to it for Spawn. But back to my gripes and things like that. There's not really much to gripe about. This figure looks great. I mean, you put them on the shelf, people are going to point to it and ask about it. And if you can, like I said, if you can get a nice strong stand, because the cape is super heavy, to be able to pose him, you can get him in some nice acrobatic poses. And with the accessories, if you just got this one figure, because if you guys don't know, I will be reviewing the other two figures you get, which is, I think there's a black and white one and there's a modern one. So make sure you guys are subscribed to this channel. You hit that like button. You also hit that bell icon so you get notified when I do a new video. So I will be putting this in a playlist along with the other three, so that way you guys can enjoy, you know, excuse me, not the other three, but the other two, so you can enjoy the rest of the reviews for this figure. But that's pretty much all I could say. I mean, it's a really nice figure. It was worth the price, and you know, for getting 3 figures at the amount that we got them for at the beginning of the Kickstarter campaign, it's great. I mean, I always wanted the original Spawn, could never find it because there was 2 variants. There's one without his face, without his mask, and then they had the one with that with his mask. And the one with his mask was the first release. You can never find it because it's super expensive. I mean, I'm pretty sure you guys seen unboxing on there, the nice little clamshell that it comes in. It's really nice. It has a nice metallic comic book. So like I said before, guys, if you guys really enjoyed this content, hit that like button, subscribe, leave me some comments. I want to know what your experience was with the Kickstarter campaign of this Spawn, and I want to know which ones did you get? Did you get all 3? Did you get the black and white, the modern, or did you get this one? Let me know in the comments below. So like always, I will see you guys on the next review.